Money Ape is sitting on his couch one Tuesday night, scrolling through Instagram, eating leftover rice from a plastic container, wearing the same hoodie he's had since 2019. And honestly, he's fine. He's comfortable. Life is good. Then he sees it. His buddy Derek just posted a photo. New car, shiny, black. Leather seats you can practically smell through the screen. Caption says, "Hard work pays off, blessed." And something happens inside Money Ape's chest. Something small but loud, like a little voice that says, "Wait, why don't I have that?" 5 minutes ago, Money Ape was perfectly happy with his rice and his hoodie. Now suddenly the hoodie feels embarrassing. The rice feels sad. And somewhere in the back of his brain, a little alarm is going off that says, "You're falling behind." That, my friends, is the keeping up trap. And Money Ape walked right into it with both feet, a spoon and a container of leftover rice. Welcome back. This is the story of how Money Ape finally figured out what was happening to his money. Every time his life got a little better, and why fixing it changed everything. So here's something Money Ape never noticed, until someone actually pointed it out to him. Every single time his income went up, his happiness went up for about 3 weeks. Then it went back to exactly where it was before. But his spending? His spending stayed up, permanently. He got a raise at work. Suddenly he needed better sneakers because, well, he could afford it now. He started making a little more from his side hustle. Suddenly the apartment felt too small. He paid off a credit card. Suddenly he deserved a weekend trip. And before Money Ape could blink, every extra dollar he made had already found somewhere to live, and it wasn't in his savings account. This is called lifestyle inflation. And it's not a money problem. It's a brain problem. Here's the science. Your brain has something called a hedonic baseline. Think of it like a happiness thermostat. When something good happens, you get money. You buy something new. You get a compliment, your brain releases dopamine, and you feel amazing. But your brain is also incredibly smart and incredibly lazy. It adjusts to the new normal very fast. The new car smell fades. The new apartment becomes just your apartment. The dopamine goes away. And suddenly your brain is looking around again saying, "Okay, what's next? What do I need now to feel that again?" This is why lottery winners, on average, return to their original happiness levels within 1 year of winning. Not because money doesn't matter, but because the brain adapts. The baseline rises, and the chase begins again. Money Ape was on this treadmill for years, running hard, moving nowhere. And every time he looked to his left or his right, his friends seemed to be running faster. Now let's talk about Derek. Derek, if you remember, is the guy with the car. And here's the thing about Derek. Derek is not the villain of this story. Derek is not trying to make Money Ape feel bad. Derek is not sitting there rubbing his hands together thinking, "I'm going to post this photo and ruin Money Ape's Tuesday." No, Derek is just living his life. But something about seeing Derek's life made Money Ape feel like his own life was suddenly not enough. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called social comparison theory. And it basically says that human beings measure their own success not by an objective standard, but by looking at the people around them. We don't ask, "Am I doing well?" We ask, "Am I doing better than them?" And for most of human history, this was actually useful. Back when we lived in small tribes, comparing yourself to the 20 or 30 people around you helped you figure out your status, your safety, your place in the group. If everyone else had 2 goats and you had 0 goats, that was genuinely important information. But now Money Ape is not comparing himself to 30 people. He's comparing himself to 300 million people on Instagram at 3 in the morning. And the algorithm, the beautiful, evil, brilliant algorithm, is not showing him average people having average days. It's showing him the best moment of everyone's best day. The new car, the vacation, the promotion dinner, the glow-up. Nobody posts a photo of their leftover rice. So Money Ape is sitting there measuring his real life, the messy, average, honest, perfectly decent real life against everyone else's highlight reel. And of course he feels like he's losing. He was designed to feel like he's losing, because feeling like you're losing makes you want to catch up. And wanting to catch up makes you spend money. And spending money is what the whole machine was built for. This is not a weakness. This is biology being hijacked by business. And it happens to almost everyone. So now Money Ape does what any reasonable primate would do when he feels behind. He starts chasing golden bananas. Golden bananas are those quick rewards your brain absolutely loves. The shiny thing, the upgrade, the instant hit of, "Yes, I have this now, I am doing well, I am keeping up." They feel incredible for about 48 hours. Then they become part of the background. And then the hunger comes back. Money Ape bought the better sneakers. Golden banana. Felt great. Then they were just sneakers. He upgraded his apartment. Golden banana. Felt great. Then it was just where he lived. He started going to nicer restaurants because his friends were going to nicer restaurants, and he didn't want to be the one suggesting they split a pizza. Golden banana after golden banana after golden banana. And Money Ape told himself this was fine because he was earning more now. He deserved this. He worked hard, and here's the most dangerous part of lifestyle inflation. It always comes with a really convincing story. I deserve this. I worked for this. Life is short. You only live once. I'm not going into debt over it. I'm just enjoying my money. None of those things are wrong, by the way, but they're also very easy to say. Right before you spend money you didn't plan to spend on something you didn't really need, to impress people who weren't really paying attention, to feel something that will disappear in 3 days anyway. The golden banana tastes sweet, but it doesn't fill you up. So what was actually happening inside Money Ape's brain while all of this was going on? There are two systems running in your brain at all times. Researchers sometimes call them the fast brain and the slow brain. The fast brain is emotional, impulsive, and wired for survival. It sees the new car and it immediately starts making feelings: status, safety, belonging, fear of being left behind. It doesn't think, it reacts. The slow brain is logical, patient, and actually pretty bad at making itself heard. It's the part of you that knows you don't need the new car. It's the part that can do the math. It's the part that says, hey, if we just kept our expenses where they were and invested the raise, we'd have real money in 10 years. But the slow brain is quiet, and the fast brain is loud. And the algorithm was designed by very smart people to feed the fast brain exactly what it craves. Money Ape's fast brain was running the show, and his bank account was paying the price. Here's the thing, nobody tells you about lifestyle inflation. It's not actually about money, it's about identity. When Money Ape upgraded his apartment, he wasn't just getting more square footage. He was telling himself a story about who he was now. A person who lives like this. A person who has made it to this level. And once you start telling yourself that story, going back feels like failure. Feels like shrinking. Feels like giving up. That's why lifestyle inflation is so sticky. Because every upgrade becomes part of how you see yourself. And defending your spending becomes defending your identity. So what changed? How did Money Ape finally get off the treadmill? It started with one honest, slightly uncomfortable question. He was looking at his budget one Sunday afternoon, which already shows real character. By the way, and he added up everything he was spending every month and asked himself, if I had never seen what anyone else was spending, would I have chosen to spend money on all of this? And the answer was, mostly no. The restaurant upgrades? He actually liked the pizza place. He suggested the fancy spots because he didn't want to look cheap. The nicer gym? He went 3 times a month. He kept it because canceling felt like admitting he wasn't the kind of person who worked out. The car he was thinking about getting? He didn't actually care about cars. He cared about what having a car like that would say about him. He had been spending money not on things he loved, but on an image of himself that he thought other people needed to see. This is what researchers call status spending. And studies show that up to 40% of consumer spending in modern economies is driven not by genuine preference, but by social signaling. We buy things to communicate things. I am successful. I am keeping up. I belong here. The problem is, it doesn't work. Research also shows that people wildly overestimate how much other people notice their status symbols. Your friend saw the car photo and scrolled past in 4 seconds. Your coworker didn't notice your new shoes. The table next to you at the restaurant was not impressed by your order. We are all walking around performing for an audience that is mostly not watching because they're too busy performing for their own imaginary audience. Everyone is exhausted. Everyone is slightly behind on their bills. Everyone is doing the same thing. And nobody is actually winning the game because the game was never designed to be won. Now here's where it gets good. Because Money Ape didn't just get sad about all of this and close his laptop and eat more rice. No. He actually figured out a way through. Step 1. He called it the comparison diet. For 30 days, he cut his social media usage in half. Not because Instagram is evil, but because he recognized it was feeding his fast brain a steady diet of comparison fuel. And when you reduce the input, you reduce the hunger. Within 2 weeks, he genuinely stopped thinking about Derek's car. Step 2. He wrote down what his life actually needed to feel good. Not what looked good. Not what communicated success. What actually made him feel content and alive and like himself. The list was shorter and cheaper than he expected. Good food cooked at home, time with a few close friends, books, walks, his savings account growing. The actual feeling of security, that last one was the big one. Because Money Ape realized something he'd been ignoring for years. The best feeling wasn't the new thing. The best feeling was looking at his savings and knowing he was safe, knowing he could handle something going wrong. That quiet, boring, invisible feeling of financial stability that was the thing his fast brain was always actually searching for. And it was the one thing he kept trading away for golden bananas. Step 3. He created what he started calling his lifestyle lock. Every time his income increased, he made a rule. 50% of every raise or windfall goes straight to savings or investments before he ever sees it in his checking account. The other 50%? He could do whatever he wanted with. Upgrade something. Treat himself, whatever. But the baseline stayed locked, because here's the truth. It's much easier to not start spending money than it is to stop spending money once you've started. Lifestyle inflation sneaks in through habits, and the best way to fight a habit is to never let it form. Now here's the last piece, and this is the one Money Ape thinks about the most. He was at dinner one night with a few friends. Good friends, people he actually liked. And someone started talking about a mutual friend, let's call him Marcus, who lived in a very modest apartment, drove an older car, brought lunch to work every day, wore the same jacket basically forever. And someone at the table said, kind of casually, it's a shame Marcus hasn't gotten further in life. And Money Ape almost said something, almost agreed, almost nodded, because that's what you do in that conversation. But then he thought about Marcus. And he thought about the fact that Marcus had mentioned once very quietly that he was thinking about retiring in his early 40s, that he had invested consistently for 15 years, that he had no debt, that he slept well. Marcus wasn't behind. Marcus had won a completely different game, a game nobody at that dinner table could even see, because it doesn't photograph well. It doesn't make a good Instagram caption. You can't tell from the outside that someone has genuine financial freedom, because financial freedom looks, from the outside, exactly like someone who hasn't made it yet. The whole table looked successful. Marcus looked ordinary, and Marcus was the freest person in the room. Money Ape thought about that for a long time afterward. There are two kinds of bananas in this life. The golden bananas are bright and shiny, and they taste incredible, and they are designed specifically to make you want more of them the second they're gone. They exist to be chased. They live for the chase. The system that produces them needs you to keep running, and then there are the other bananas. Quiet ones, unimpressive ones. They're the bananas of security, of freedom, of having enough and knowing it, of sleeping without stress, of choosing how you spend your time because you're not desperate to keep up with payments. They don't photograph well. They won't get you any likes. Nobody is going to post about them, but they're the only bananas that actually fill you up. Money Ape spent years chasing the shiny ones, and he's not ashamed of that, because he was doing exactly what his brain was wired to do, in a world that was perfectly engineered to exploit exactly that wiring. He wasn't weak. He was human. And so are you. But now he knows what the trap looks like. He knows how it smells. He knows the exact flavor of the golden banana before the hunger comes back. And knowing that changes everything. So here's the only question that matters at the end of all of this. Not what car are you going to get, not what your friends are doing, not what Derek posted this week. Which bananas are you actually hungry for? Take a moment with that one. The answer might surprise you. And if you want to keep figuring it out together, you know where to find Money Ape. Right here. Every week, eating rice and thinking about compound interest. See you next time.